Welcome to episode 15 of the Wrong Kind of Music podcast. Today we are going to do a roundup of Metal to the Masses so far. Last year we would have done it where we've got pretty much a podcast after each event. This year we're just doing one big one and we're going to talk about all the different bands we've seen so far. Some of them were quite some time ago, so forgive us if we're a little bit forgetful, or we got too drunk, or we missed gigs, or whatever. We'll do our best to hook back into those memories and tell you what we think. With me today we've got Mark from rockandload.com. You've been to most of the gigs yourself.
Yeah, covered all of them this year.
Photographed them, reviewed them.
Yeah.
Yep. And Phil Short.
Yeah.
Who is potentially and hopefully going to be a regular on the podcast.
We'll see how we go for this one first.
All being well. All being well. Here. The way we're going to do this is we're going to run through. First of all, we'll take a run through the bands that only made it as far as their heat. Then we'll take a run through the bands that made it to the semis, and finally we'll talk about all the bands that got to the final. And we'll make our predictions and say who we want to win, that sort of thing. So, shall we get stuck in then?
Let's do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. First up then, Axe Catcher. Thoughts?
Missed that one.
You missed that one, yeah.
It feels like a long time ago now.
Yeah,
you know, that's the thing. When February was it?
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
It was a long time ago, and those heats are definitely a bit of a blur. I'm trying to remember, genre-wise, what would you define them as?
It is that sort of. It's hardcore, but it's not traditional hardcore. I mean, they don't sound like Madball or Sick of It All. It's more like, to me, it ain't a kick in the ass off Cancer Bats.
Yeah.
Sort
of hardcore and raw.
For me, anyway, therein lies the problem with Axe Catcher, because I think that style of music, you need a dedicated frontman.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Axe Catcher fall down. I genuinely believe they would have went further if they had a dedicated frontman, and I think they used to. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% certain, but I think they used to have a guy that just done vocals.
Right.
I thought they were just pipped. I won't say by who, because we'll come on to those other bands, but I think they were just pipped by another band in that heat.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them. I did really, really enjoy them. I thought they were very good. I think it's really high energy, metally, punky, hardcore-y stuff.
Yeah, it's what's needed sometimes for these sort of events, especially for these competitions, you know. Bring a serious live performance to something like that, you know, and just grab it by the balls and go for it, you know. Definitely.
I mean, they're a band that if I seen them on a bill, I'd be out to see them, without a doubt. I thought they were really, really good. Unfortunately, didn't get any further.
Yeah. As is the way of the competition, unfortunately. And there's a lesson there for people as well, is to bring support with you, essentially get you through those initial heats as well.
If you can get your mates out, get them out. Yeah,
bring them out in force.
Second band on that bill, Lufthansa Heist. I wasn't overly keen, to be honest. I thought as a band, as a cohesive band, they were a little bit muddled.
Yeah.
There wasn't a coherent style coming across. I wasn't standing there thinking, yeah, they sound like such and such a band, because there was just too much.
An awful lot going on.
I thought it could have done with a wee bit more direction in their songwriting. But I think they're a band that haven't been about for too long.
Yeah, I think sometimes that shows in the competition as well, doesn't it? You can sort of tell the bands who've been together for a couple of years, who are a bit tighter, a bit more cohesive in their songwriting, compared to the bands who are younger, fresher, and maybe just haven't quite nailed down what they're doing yet.
I also find there seems to be an element of bands from Belfast seem to be a bit more, I don't know if professional is the right word, but they seem to, I don't know if it's because they're from Belfast, so they're going to more gigs and they're seeing more bands and kind of picking up on more the nuances of how to act on stage, that sort of thing. They're a band I'd like to see come back, because sometimes you see a band like that and then you see them 12 months later and you go,
okay, evolution of a band over 12 months or 24 months, you know, can be massive sometimes, and I can just take maybe the experience of a competition like Metal to the Masses to bring them to where they need to be.
Definitely. So moving on, Heat 2. There was a band, now they did play in one of the semi-finals, but it was because there was a sort of a vote to fill a gap.
Yeah.
That was Saturnine Did you see Saturday?
Did indeed, yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I thought, again, if I'm right in saying, I believe it was their first gig, or certainly a second, very, very close to that.
Yeah.
Felt actually, for as early as they were playing, they were pretty decent. There's the makings of something good there.
Yeah.
There's definitely, and again, it's nothing but time's going to actually, improve them on for them. So, again, I think they struggle a wee bit with trying to stick to one
cohesive sound.
They didn't know what genre they wanted to be.
Yeah,
hopping and skipping.
Yeah,
and I mean, some of it, whenever it was good, it was really good, and then whenever it was bad, it was like, I don't want to say bad, like it sounds a bit harsh, but it just didn't work.
Yeah.
But whenever it was really good, it was tight, it was good.
I agree. There was moments within their set that I thought this is actually really, really cool.
Yeah.
And they didn't shy away from like having like very contrasting parts of the songs where it was very mellow and chill and minimal.
Sort of peaks and valleys throughout the songs, and I take on a bit of a journey, which is what you want sometimes as well from a live experience.
So that's what I like. One thing I did find a bit odd about Saturday Night was musically and thematically it seemed to come across as a very, very serious band.
Yeah.
But then there was this sort of light-hearted, silly banter between songs that I kind of found a wee bit jarring.
Yeah. Especially in a situation of a competition where you are trying to set yourself out.
Yeah, it came across almost like people having jokes with their mates or something.
Yeah.
And it kind of like, I mean, fine, maybe they're just down for a bit of banter, and they, like many bands, use the competition to get gigs and get in front of, get
in front of crowds. Really.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I think it's
maybe
the
it was that.
First time I've seen a burrito eaten on stage.
Yeah.
I missed that. There was a burrito eaten on stage.
Yeah. They sort of brought out a burrito during the heats, sort of give it the royal seal of approval before having a wee bite.
He was obviously hungry,
I completely missed that. That's nuts.
Yeah. Anyway.
And then another band that night in Heat 2 was, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Diamere. They were more of a, to me, very, very proggy. Front and centre on the stage was a big synth. Even in terms of the lighting and stuff, kind of suited the mood. It was all very minimal and dark and backlit. Musically, for me, it just wasn't my cup of tea. It was a bit. It completely lacked aggression to me, and that's my thing when it comes to heavy music. I want something aggressive.
I was on the opposite side of that there. I actually loved them. I was really taken aback by the contrast of it all, because I wasn't expecting it, because I hadn't heard them before. I didn't know what we were in for, and then obviously this keyboard had popped up and I was like, what's going on here? A bit of a random one, and you could just expect them to fall flat on their asses, with a setup like that there. But musically they were great. Guitar player was brilliant, had like a plethora of pedals in front of him, knew what he was doing, created all these mad sounds. Keyboardist obviously and vocalist, he was very different to what else we had in competition. Closest thing would probably have been Ravenlight or something like there, which was a melodic symphonic type band. But, I thought they brought something really different to it, and I was hoping they would have maybe just got through to give them an opportunity to see them again, see what they could do, but unfortunately not.
I think their problem, both those bands we just talked about, were up against established Belfast bands, not just established, but bands that people that are into this competition and go to these gigs would have been very, very familiar with. So I think they did draw a short straw.
I think that another night, another heat, they could have got through.
Definitely absolutely. Agree. But again, it's sort of one thing whenever you go to these gigs week in, week out. It's just you don't see that synth on it, and you're kind of. You go, hang on, what's happening here? And it almost becomes an uphill battle for them to come out and you go, right, you're playing a synth here. Impress me, and kind of maybe I could have been guilty of that, but I enjoyed them. Again, quite vastly different.
Now, I do like that aspect of it, and I mean that's one of the best things about this competition is the variety.
Yeah, I think you need that, don't you? You can't have 5 bands all playing the same genre, and
If we went down to this and it was 6 thrash bands, 4 death metal bands, and 4 black metal bands, you'd just be kind of going.
Would get a bit tiresome.
You don't want that. You want to be going to these things and experiencing new bands and finding new bands and an opportunity for new bands.
That's actually been the beauty of it for this year for me as well. I found a few seriously good bands that I didn't know were out there and would happily watch them again.
Sweet. Moving on to Heat 3 then. A band that I have a real sweet spot for is Periapt. I missed that show, so I didn't get to see them, but I'm sure I would have enjoyed them. They, from last year, they seemed like a band that were kind of like just coming out of a phase of not really knowing what they were and kind of finding themselves.
Yeah.
So I'd really like to see them again. I'm sad that I missed them. The second band then from Heat 3 that didn't go through, Like a Hawk. Again, I missed this, so...
Sort of middle of the road rock for me, I think, from memory. You know, it was just a... don't think they did enough for me to really stand out to make you want them to be in the semis, you know.
Yeah.
They were good at what they'd done, but just didn't have that sort of spark that made you get really excited about it, you know.
Like we've talked about this before, about rock bands coming down to metal to the masses.
Yeah.
Now I think we've established at this stage that there's absolutely no reason a rock band can't enter this competition. There's loads of rock bands play Bloodstock. Why can't they be on the new Blood stage? That being said, I think if you're a rock band coming down to something like this,
you just have to have that something more. You have to be a little bit special, offer something more than just the slamming the chords, you know.
Yeah.
And I've seen some great rock bands last year at Bloodstock and on the new Blood stage, and they all had that something a little bit special, you know. So you just have to bring it, you know. And for me, there's a couple of bands who are still in the competition who wouldn't necessarily be metal, but are there. So there's definitely a rock element in the final. So.
Yeah. So moving on to Heat 4 then. Roscoe's Riot. Anyone?
That was my first time actually catching them live. I hadn't seen them before. They were good at what they'd done. Really imposing frontman. Does his bit really, really well, you know. But again, just didn't, for me, have that wee sort of cutting edge that made it really want to see them again.
Yeah.
You know, or want to see them in the semi. But they were good at what they'd done, and again, you know, definitely a band to watch out on the local scene.
I've seen them on bills, you know, for a good year too, and you know, first time for me seeing them as well, and actually, again, you know, quite, you know, middle of the road.
Yeah.
But really, like, a really talented guitarist.
Yeah,
really talented.
He is very, very good as a frontman, great imposing guy, just has a real presence about him.
Yeah, there's a charisma there that
does, you know,
that kind of oozes charisma just from, you know, the front of the stage there. I think it was very front and left there, sort of, and you know, great interaction with the crowd as well.
There was moments definitely within the set that I really liked, and then after a while I just found myself sort of losing interest in it. So just you know, there's something just lacking. But I
have to confess, whenever I went back and looked at the lineup, I was like, I don't remember them. And the first thing that came to my mind was, must have got drunk, must have drank too much. Don't remember them. But I looked at the set times, and Tombs won after them, and I remember Tombs. I absolutely remember Tombs. So I don't think I was that drunk. I think it just, not saying it was bad, not saying they weren't good. It just didn't stick. It just didn't stick with me, and I honestly don't remember. I wouldn't take that too personally if anyone's watching it. I mean, we see a lot of bands, you are going to forget some from time to time.
21 in the competition, I'm right in saying, thereabouts. A lot of bands.
Band I just mentioned there, Tombs. I thought Tombs were fucking brilliant. I really enjoyed them.
I'm struggling to remember them.
Aggressive, really, really aggressive. And
really aggressive.
And actually just...
And like to me it was a real mishmash of all the darker styles of metal, like a bit of black, a bit of death, a bit of sludge, a bit of doom, and it was just all thrown in there. And it was just, I know it's corny and cliched, but their set was like a journey.
Yeah,
you know, it was ups and downs, and I really, really enjoyed it. And there was something about, they've got this look. They look like they sound. You know the way sometimes there's bands that look one way but sound another way.
Yeah.
They look how they sound. And whoever was doing lights that night knows how to do lights for different bands, and everything was really, really gloomy and dark on stage, and I just thought it looked and sounded gorgeous. I was really impressed by Tombs. Though I will confess, I voted for them at the bottom. And the reason I done that was they're from Limerick, and there was
that's right, I remember them now. Yeah, they were great.
And it's not a fuck those bands from the south or anything stupid or political or anything like that. It was just a matter of what if they won, right? And then you got two bands, one from Belfast, but they were from Limerick, and one from Dublin, and they were from Cork or something, and we're sending two bands from the island of Ireland, but they're both southern bands. I just thought it would have been a shame not to send a band from Northern Ireland, and that's the only reason I ever would have
I forgot the Limerick boys. They were very good. They were very good at what they'd done, because they were unknown to us and nobody knew what to expect, and then the performance was, they slayed the performance on the night. But
and like fair play to them coming all the way up from Limerick to do that show. You know,
quite the journey there, and I mean to come in and sort of hit as hard as they did. Was fantastic to see.
And I mean, whenever you've got bands like, I don't know, for talk's sake, Victim Royal, I'm sure they can turn around to the mates and go, would you lads, would you just come down and support us? It's just down the road in Belfast.
The guys from Limerick aren't going to be.
How many mates are they going to bring up from Limerick? I think they actually did bring up a few, but obviously not enough to get through with the crowd vote. So the last heat then, Heat 5, the first band we're going to talk about there is Erosion, rock band, some ex-members of Baleful Creed, and the drummer is the vocalist. Yeah, do you see these guys?
Yeah, it did. You know, sound good, but quite lacking on stage presence. There's just nothing there because their drummer is the vocalist. There's nothing up front. Their bass.
I thought that was a weird. I remember just being detached from it while watching it and thinking it just didn't work. You know, I kept on thinking of Phil Collins and that monkey in the chocolate bar. You know,
you see, there's bands. I've talked about Curb Grinder before. Curb Grinder are the only other band I know where the drummer's the front man.
Yeah.
And they bring the drums to the front of the stage.
Yeah.
And you can do it in Voodoo because anyone who was down at Crypto Riff know that Dead Witches, as soon as they come in, they pull the drums down onto the front. Now they don't have a drummer as a front man. I don't even know why they've done that. I think there's more drums than there was in that riser, because that riser in Voodoo is just enough space.
Just enough.
For a set of drums. There's room to do it, and it's your stage. I know you've only got that 15 minute in between.
Yeah.
But fuck it, I'd have went for it if I was them. Get those drums in your front line right in front of people.
It was a strange and surreal experience.
It's just
again, you know, talented.
Yeah, they were good at what they done. They actually were very good at what they done, but it was lost.
I found as well that the vocals weren't always clear, because as he's drumming, it was almost as if the mic was over here.
Yeah.
So he's drumming it, and
you find that quite often with drummers and mics.
Somewhere.
You know?
Maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe it's so that the mic doesn't pick up the drums or whatever. But can you not get that mic in front of you so that you're not? It doesn't look like you're doing two things at once.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The other band on that night, the Crux, used to be known as War Crux.
Yeah. I actually liked them. I thought they came across really well on the night. Frontman was very, very good. Overall, of the band performance, he performed really, really well. And they could have really been a surprise package on the night as well, you know, because again, unexpected and slightly unknown on the night what they're going to come with, and I thought they'd done really well. So,
I thought they sounded really good. I thought they looked well on stage. Very, very confident performance.
Yeah.
I would maybe say verging on overconfident. But, you know, they owned the stage. The stage was theirs when they were on.
Very comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. And the music all sounded good. It was all crisp and clear. Sounded great, well-written songs. But there was just nothing that grabbed me. There was no song that made me go, fuck, that's a good one. Or a riff going, fuck, that riff. It was just, they just played songs and I listened to them and it played out, and there was just nothing to make me go, fuck. You know, and you need that. You need
something to push over the edge.
Yeah. Something to grab onto. Something to make you go, I want that on CD.
Yeah.
I want that in my car, or I want that on my ears. On my ears? In my ears when you're right down there in the bite, you know. Just didn't quite do it for me. I don't actually know what the deal with them is either, because they were about as War Crux for a while.
Yeah, I didn't know them as War Crux, so there's a genre change, there's a music change from
I don't
War
think
Crux?
so, no. So it seemed to have gone away and then come back.
I
don't know what the deal is okay, so that leads us on to dealing with the semi-finalists. The first of which is Delusional Silence. I will straight up confess that I've done a bit of photography work with Delusional Silence, so there may be a smidgen of bias, but I thought they were a band that performed well, sounded good. They were above average in terms of what they delivered. To me, I don't go out to listen to rock bands. I just don't. I like my music heavy. I like my music aggressive. But if a rock band's good, sometimes it will kind of pull me in. I thought they were good, but that's it.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm struggling to remember them out of that heat actually, because the other bands were quite strong on the night, and I'm just trying to remember where Delusional Silence fit in. Delusional Silence, the
first act on, I believe.
There was the main guy, Chris, wears a big baggy hoodie every time, and he's got like dreads and stuff.
Dreads, yes, yes.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah, musically, they were a very good band. Again, the sound didn't match the visuals with them. You know, as an image sort of thing. Yeah. It was like you were expecting one thing, you got something totally different. They were quite good at what they'd done.
Did enjoy his vocals.
Yeah, his vocals were quite strong actually.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that did stand out. They just need that something a little bit special again to sort of make them, again, just tip them over the edge and separate them from the crowd, you know.
Yeah, second band in that semi was Nomadis. We seen them, and that was their first gig. Their
second
was their first
second gig was a semi, yeah.
And then their semi was their second gig. Whenever we were watching them, I kind of thought, these guys are alright. Musically, it all sounded very late 90s to me.
Yeah.
Sort of Sepultura, Machine Head, that sort of thing.
They sounded like the heaviest band in the competition. The sound was just fucking gargantuan. You know, it just huge sound.
There was some big crunchy riffs.
Some lovely riffs, and I was really surprised by them. I think maybe enjoyed their first heat more than enjoyed their semi performance.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're deserving of being in the semi because they brought something to it for sure. If they could maybe nail down a full-time vocalist who really knows what they're doing, they could be something pretty special, you know.
Yeah. What do you reckon to them?
No, enjoyed them. Same reason. I mean, you gotta say, fair fucks for them for getting up there and well, first of all getting out of the heat and then getting out of the semi.
Yeah.
You know,
right into the final.
Right into the final.
Surprise. I think that again, being such a young and fresh band, maybe the experience of playing live yet is just something that they have to work on. You know, stage presence and all that there, and that'll come with time, come with experience. You know.
Yeah.
But they've got that all ahead of them. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Pantera was the other band I was going to mention. I thought there was a wee.
Yeah, I think there's definitely sort of
well.
huge, sort of gargantuan, sort of, you know, In Flames type riffs and all that sort of stuff going on. You know, so
I'm looking forward to seeing them again. So
yeah.
A lot of, you know, tapping, loves this tapping bit like Joe Pantier sort of type of just going up the fretboard.
Next semi-finalist, Ravenlight, symphonic metal.
Yeah, again an act who brought something totally different to the competition. You know,
Absolutely.
so very, very welcome in that point of view. Very, very good at what they'd done. I have to say that they were very, very good at what they'd done. She performed very, very well. Vocals were great all the time. Songwriting's great. Maybe the samples are a little bit much, you know, at the start of the songs. You know, it's but very atmospheric, and they should definitely keep doing what they're doing because they're a talented band that have real potential.
The vocals, whenever I first heard them, you think symphonic metal, and there's so many bands out there with like incredibly good vocalists, and it's hard in a genre like that not to compare that sort of singer to Nightwish and
I think she has a more sort of almost classical sort of sound to her, or like she throws her.
I think because you're expecting, because that kind of music, you're expecting this huge big voice, and it's not quite that.
No,
and I think it's not quite that by design. It's a more subtle delivery of vocals, and I think once you realise that and once you appreciate that,
once you
it starts to make sense a bit more. I mean, symphonic metal is not something I would listen to. The closest I've ever got to is band with a song called Swamped. Looking Coil.
Not even symphonic.
It's not, but there is similarities there. And the other thing I'll say about Ravenlight was their performance in the semi-final compared to their performance in the heat. just ramped up in confidence. I thought,
night and day, it was great.
It was almost like
better.
I don't know if they have done this. I know some bands do this, but all the heats and stuff are getting filmed and streamed live.
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity for the bands to go back and watch themselves. And see what they could potentially, what do we do right here? What do we do wrong here?
I think as well, those maybe. They probably thought they weren't in the right competition. They probably thought it would be a good experience for them to get in, but then probably the confidence comes out of when they are coming out of their heat. And the semi, they just sort of realise, well, here we are, and they got the confidence. We deserve to be here.
We've done better than we expected. Let's start taking this seriously.
I mean, I think what you were saying there, the marked difference between the heat. And I know they had a wee gig down in a wee gig. I think it was a pretty decent support slot. Down in Dublin. The week prior, and I think that's only going to help you. Is getting onto a good support slot like that and playing in front of a lot of people. Whenever you play in front of a lot of people and come into Voodoo and you're playing against, so again,
less intimidating.
less intimidating, and you've got that opportunity to really perform.
Yeah. I believe they've a new bass player, so they're obviously looking to keep this trend going, and
good.
I would say we'll hear more from them soon. Thieves. I've been looking forward to talking about Thieves.
Thieves are a quandary, aren't they?
Thieves, right. They keep talking about this heavy pop thing.
I know.
Does anyone get it? Does anyone understand this?
It's to mess with your melon, I think. That's what it is.
It's just I kind of get that if that's the thing.
Yeah.
But I keep hearing that's a heavy pop thing, and I seen your interview with them where they describe it that they've got all this melody crossed with the heavy.
Taylor Swift. There's no Taylor Swift.
And I'm sitting going, I can't fucking hear it. I cannot hear this heavy pop sound that you keep banging on about.
Because the opening line wasn't we're Thieves, we're a pop band.
We
played pop or whatever it was.
And
I thought to myself, what the fuck, But within 30 seconds of hitting the first song, you're not.
No, you're not quite. You're not quite in for that.
They lie.
I mean, the style of the music, it's not the sort of thing I would listen to regularly. It's
I love the performance aspect that those guys gave on stage was
energy,
everything.
It
was tremendous. Quite frankly, blew me away. I mean, all the forced distortion and just it was just again energy just flowing out and
overflowing.
You could see it because
he's fucking dripping,
literally, physically dripping sweat on the stage.
Yeah, and I mean, sort of, if you're going to come into a competition and you're going to give it as good a stab as that, you've got my all day long. I definitely think that 100%.
I'm sort of looking forward to the final performance, seeing them perform, and then seeing what Simon Hall makes out of it all, because. To me, a band like Thieves could be the surprise package in a competition like this because, again, last year we would have often talked about are they a Bloodstock band? Are they a Bloodstock band? They would go down a fucking treat at Bloodstock, on that New Blood stage.
I think you're right. I think now they would. I think that style of music is perfectly capable.
Oh, why?
Of being played at that. One of the things I was going to say was when I seen them in their heat. I find them sort of similar-ish in terms of heaviness and genre, a wee bit similar to X-Catcher. And I think during the gig, I seen them as a threat to X-Catcher, and I wanted X-Catcher to go through.
Yeah.
So I was kind of on the back foot with them on that heat. Whenever I seen them in the semi, it was kind of like, all right, this band's through, so I'll just take them for what they're worth. And I loved them in the semi. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. They had a guy filming, which ended up using the video.
Yeah.
And I was up the front headbanging, and I ended up in the video from that.
Super fan.
I totally think what you're saying about what happens on Friday night here. If that energy gets off the stage and gets into the crowd,
absolutely, because
that's when it starts.
Oracle last year, nobody's seen Oracle come to take that there last year.
No.
So really, it's down to. On the night, like what is fucking delivered, and it could be a real surprise.
Yeah. Thieves winning Metal of the It's an interesting one.
Strange things have happened.
Yeah, I have indeed. Second semi-final, Kidos. I cannot not be biased about Kidos. They are
an excellent band, really excellent.
A band that I started off liking them, and they have just grown and grown and grown on me. And I was talking about this with Claire. We kind of thought they were maybe somewhere between a possible win. No, they were a possible winner, not like a forefront of potential winners, but definitely a possible winner. Until we went to the album launch party they just had, and we stood there and watched that, and I just went, "There's no possible anymore. This is one of the bands.
One of the forerunners.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They're one of the forerunners now after that gig. Fuck me, they were so good that night.
Yeah,
so good.
I think they were just full of confidence after the album launch. Just really enjoyed it. I think the pressure was off that night. They almost just wanted to put it out there.
The album's out, and I think that gig was just, I don't know, that was one of the best gigs in Belfast I've been to. That was just like local bands. I know it was dead label, but you know, I missed Death of a Salesman. I came in, the place was already hiving.
Yeah.
There was a buzz about the place. Dead label were just going,
they were
fucking
immense.
Oh, holy shit. I thought we could do a whole fucking episode.
I haven't seen anything as like well attended. Like
exactly, and honestly, in the local gigs, sometimes it can be a bit disappointing for support. But that night, there was this was rammed, wasn't it?
I don't doubt that we're nervous going on stage, because you just always are. But I imagined going through their head was sort of, we fucking got this.
Yeah.
You know, we've got the crowd in here.
Yeah.
People have come to see us.
Absolutely.
And that extra 15 minutes, because they normally play a 30-minute set, they played 45 minutes, I think, maybe even a wee bit more. They so benefited from that extra time.
Yeah.
The material is good enough that they can play a longer set.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There wasn't really a bad track in that set. You know, they were so strong across it. You know, that's one thing about them now, is that their set is really just from start to finish, it's really prolific, like, you know.
Yeah, it's just solid. It's you know, starts in your face.
Yeah.
It starts where you want it. Has a nice flow to it. You know, like they're becoming really like masters of that craft. You know, figuring it out.
I know a lot of people, and you'll say Keithos, and the first thing they'll go to is Keith and Keith's solos.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
And
stunning guitars, like just
maybe there was a time when that was the star of the show.
Yeah.
And while Keith is incredible, it's no longer just, it's not like going to see, you know, Slash and these other guys. It's like they've got the whole package. Everyone on stage is fucking great.
Yeah.
Like Dwayne's a great guitarist.
Yeah.
He is so fucking good. The whole band's,
they've got it nailed.
I'm going to calm myself down before having some sort of Keithos orgasm. Keithos are great, that's all I'm saying. And whenever I seen them in Metal to the Masses, they were very, very good. At the album launch party, they took it up a notch. And if they can do that in the final, I think they very well could see themselves at Bloodstock.
They're deserving of Bloodstock. Absolutely deserving of Bloodstock. It's just whether it goes their way on the night, I suppose.
Huge amount of hard work has went in.
Absolutely,
in there. And I mean, whenever you watch the guys, you see that every single guy on the stage there is giving it 100%, and whenever everybody's trying that hard, the effect that it collectively has is cataclysmic.
There's no weak link.
There's nothing bad there about it. It's just like it, you know, really it's all about how it flows off the stage, and it just hits you up the face and doesn't apologise for it.
No.
Semi-final 2. I mean, we're talking about these bands. I'll admit I wasn't at semi-final 2. We were away. We missed that one. But most of these bands I've seen enough times that
we're,
you know, I'm able to
pretty well versed in them.
Lock Horns in the semi-final.
Another pretty savage band, like just
again a potential winner. Definitely a potential winner. My thoughts though about Lock Horns now, I love Lock Horns. I think they're brilliant. I will not miss a Lock Horns gig. Right, so I'm 100% positive about Lock Horns. My only thoughts is, what have they delivered since last year? It's the same material and it feels like the same show. And I know that Simon Hall goes to a lot of gigs and he's not going to remember. He's not going to come and go, "Oh, they're playing all the same songs as last year." That's not going to happen. But from our perspective, or from what we're seeing, I don't think they're better than they were last year. and that might be because they're already up here.
Yeah.
You know, how much better can Loughorns get? They're already exceptional. I've said before, when I see Loughorns at a local gig, it doesn't feel like a local gig. It feels like I'm watching a touring band that have been signed and are on tour. They're that good.
I'm going to disagree with you there.
But if they didn't win last year, I don't see why they would win this year. I think that's my point.
Yeah, well, I say Oracle stole it last year for just on the pip into the post, but another band who are deserving of the likes of the Bloodstock stage for sure. Well, absolutely wouldn't look out of place in any shape or form on the fucking Bloodstock stage or the Sophie Lancaster, a bigger stage. You know, they can do it, but you know, will they do it this year? That's gonna be the question.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, I you know, to be honest with you, that semi-final, that performance was off the charts. We've been watching Loughorns for a long time. They've constantly sort of stayed at like the top, you know, level here, and they've been away. I know they've been away over in England. They're doing a bit of touring, but you know, bit of sort of, you know, round everywhere really, Edinburgh and down to Wales and what have you there. But they, for me, on that night managed to push it even a wee bit more. They really did, and I don't know how they managed to do it because, as you say, nothing's really changed.
I think it was the energy level in the room that night. There was a really big support for them in the room that night.
It was tremendous. It was really, and I just remember standing there being blown away by what actually was happening. And you know, sort of,
it's one of those things. If a band starts off up here, you don't really get that sort of sense of progression because they've always been good. I remember seeing Loughorns for the first time, and it was at a point where I was kind of losing interest in the local scene because I was tired of going out and seeing the same bands over and over again. And I went and seen Loughorns, never heard of them before, and I stood there with my jaw open going, where the fuck did these guys come from?
Where have you been?
Turns out the answer was Bangor.
Where's that?
That well known.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they won it. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm just thinking in terms of a lot of other bands are kind of up in their game. Loughorns haven't, but it's because their game's so high already. You know, it's a weird one. It's
time for them to bring new stuff to
a tricky one
to the masses. You know, bring new material out, and
I'd be surprised if they're not working on new material. Yeah. So next up, my favourite of mine. I'm gonna say it right. Victim Royal.
Victim Royal.
I seen
tomato.
Didn't see them in the semi, but I seen them in their heat, and I just watched those guys on stage and just went, wow, at the level of increased confidence.
Yeah, massively improved on last year.
Yeah, way tighter than they were.
Yeah.
And they just, of all the bands, no one in this competition looks like they're enjoying themselves as much as Victim Royal does, as far as I'm concerned.
There was grinning like Cheshire cats. Like
they just look like
big smiles left, front and centre, you know.
Yeah. They'll never be in a death metal band like that.
You couldn't keep the face.
Supporting Botian, you know.
But, I mean, I banged on last year about the song Smoke Break that I thought was like their great song. This is fantastic. They seem to have dropped that, and I get the impression they've dropped that because they've kind of...
Because you said you liked it.
that's a possibility.
Kiss of death, that was.
But maybe just because they're kind of going, right, that's what we were, but we're moving on, and we're becoming a heavier band. It sounds like even the guitars to me sounded just a wee bit crunchier and a wee bit heavier and less light and fluffy, just a bit more aggressive. I thought they were great.
No.
Did you catch them?
Yeah, no, absolutely caught them, and you know, same thing, caught them both heat and semi, and I thought actually, you know, these guys definitely are deserving, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing was there that I as you've already pointed out, it's when a band enjoys themselves on stage, you're gonna, you know, you feel it, and it's not my type of music at all. But yeah, I found myself, you know, getting into it, and sort of eventually going, you know what, you're getting a good score from me.
I think they were deserving of it, you know, and they've obviously worked hard for it, so they've earned it. Mm-hmm. You know, and fair play to them.
Yeah. I loved they caught them last year to see, you know, the comparison in them. You know, and sort of that's, you know, you talk about it quite a lot, and you sort of, you'd love to see just that progression, and because I like to see it.
Yeah.
You know?
And to me again, Victim Royal are the sort of band that this competition is about. It should be about finding those those young kids that picked up a guitar only 2 or 3 years ago, put a band together, or playing great gigs, have a passion for it, want to do more, you know. I'd if they won, I would just stand there and smile and just go, that is fucking amazing that you guys got through.
It would be a story, make an indie movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Belfast Chance and Royal.
Yeah. I would say if they don't get through, absolutely have a crack at it again next year. You know, I know some bands get lose
disheartened.
Disheartened.
I think for sure there's definitely bands there who didn't make it through who should definitely come back and try it again next year. You know.
Wild Heat, rock band. Not familiar with them now.
To me again, just there wasn't enough there. I think coming through their heat, it was just a very generic sort of heat that they were in, you know, and they probably were the best of the bunch. But I just, on the night, compared to the other bands that were there, you know, Jesus, they were out of their depth.
Yeah.
I think really that was what it was all about in that night.
That looking at that semi-final,
that's a strong semi-final.
It's scary.
Yeah.
The talent that's just in there.
Yeah.
And it's sort of certainly, if I was any of those bands, I'd be trying to kind of move.
That semi-final we missed, but I remember thinking there's 5 bands in that semi-final and there's 4 that deserve to be in the final.
Yeah.
Out of 5 of them.
Yeah.
And the way it all worked out, only 3 could go through. So I just knew that a band that I really, really liked
was going to fall.
Wasn't going to go through. And sadly, that was the last band we're going to talk about from that heat, or from that semi, and it's Tars. Tars are fucking great.
I know. Tars was my first time catching them in the competition, and I remember just getting blown away by them. You know, something again really edgy, really raw, really honest about them, about the performance on stage. You know, just
sincere.
I thought it was just a real breath of fresh air again compared to an awful lot of the stuff that was in the competition. And I was gutted that they didn't get through.
I've seen Tars right from the start. They actually supported the band I was in. Whenever I was the band, and they were, probably shouldn't say this, in fact, but yeah, you know, they came right from, they seemed to be like almost a sort of an emo-y punk band to start with, and they've kind of developed. They're kind of like, you know, the antithesis to Lock Horns.
Yeah,
they started off being a bit, we're not sure what we are, we're not sure what direction we're going in, and they built and built and built.
I think of something that I've heard that's like them is probably Loathe. You heard Loathe?
I don't know Loathe.
Liverpool band who are just like an experimental, hardcore, metalcore fucking mashup. You know, it's mad, but with sort of synth and prog elements to it, and it's just crazy. And I really enjoyed both performances. You know, I thought they were great from the heat and the semi.
I mean, I know the guys in Tars, and I love that it doesn't really matter what gig you go to. You can go to an Iron Maiden show, or you can go to a Mastodon show, or you can go to a Malevolent show, and chances are you'll see someone from Tars at that gig. You know, because they've just got they've got that wide taste in music, and it comes across in their music. And as you say, I mean, to me, it's the vocals that give that sort of raw, sincere performance. I just think they've just
they talk about a band that takes you on a journey throughout a set. Like, Jesus, you know, you're almost exhausted by the time you finish.
I mean, again, it's sort of a band that can both do, you know, going 100 mile an hour to can go and
putting it right back,
putting it right back. And what really impressed me was I think Daniel's vocals.
Yeah.
Just like this raspiness to the voice or something there, you know, like truly unique voice. I mean, you've got Ian there on the other side that you know, another great vocalist. You've got 2 great vocalists in there, massive pump and bass as well at the back. You know, really good back line in there, and just
they're a band who should definitely come back next year.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and just fucking give it their all again. You know,
and again, high energy stuff as well. But in parts.
Yeah.
Great band. Semi-final 3, moving on to then. This was the last show that we attended. And the first band we're going to talk about are Elder Druid. And I will just gush about Elder Druid. I think they are the band of the moment at the minute. I just think every single aspect of that band is on point. I cannot criticize anything they do. From their presence on stage to their absolute love of the music, which just comes across on stage.
That's one thing it does,
They're the riffs. It's like they do that doomy sludgy stuff, which I'm not always a fan of, but they keep it interesting. It's never boring, not for a moment. The atmosphere when they're playing, Elder Druid to me are just like 10 out of 10.
They're a great band. Like sonically, there's so much going on during their set and all the rest of it. I was lucky enough to talk to them tonight. I interviewed them tonight, but I said to them, "Fuck, I just do not get your genre. I don't get it. Sludge and doom for me, it just goes over my head. I don't. And I even asked them, like, what is it about it you guys are into? And they were so passionate about it, and you can tell that from their performance, what they do on stage, what they give. They're well deserving of being in the final. They're a great band, but for me, that genre just like pulling teeth.
See, I'm the game. There's like 90% of that genre I'm not into.
Yeah.
But every now and again, there's a band like Elder Druid, or there's a band like Orange Goblin.
I think when you catch them live,
or a band
you
like
can absolutely appreciate it.
I don't know if you've heard of a band called Bast, but again, it's that sort of, they do that. They slow things down. They've got these big, heavy, sludgy riffs, but it's not just. There are other bands from Belfast where it's just dun, dun, and I'm like, at least hit another note. But they do that. They bring it down. They get that sort of slow, deep, groovy, sludgy sound, but at the same time they keep it interesting. There's still a bit of melody in there.
Yeah, it's just I kind of like to use the term filth. It's like
it's dirty. You walk away feeling dirty.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. It's just love being assaulted by that. And actually we've probably all seen them since that semi-final as well, Crypt of the Riff, and again we've seen them with a double bass setup.
Yes.
Which I thought, I was like, hang on, definitely got my attention here.
When Daniel from Tars goes on and plays second bass for them, it's another beast again. I think they're not using that in the competition.
He's playing on Friday night because their bass player is away touring.
But they still just have one bass player. Okay. But when they've got that, the dual bass, it is just, fuck me.
I'd say that'd be
it's a glorious thing to hold, like it really is.
And I think they've been holding back a wee bit as well, because one of their big songs is it Blue Dream Black Death? Is that right?
I think that sounds about right.
They haven't been playing that in the heats, and I'm kind of like, you're kind of waiting for it, because that's like, I don't want to say it's their big tune, but it's their big tune. And you're waiting for that and it doesn't come, so I'm kind of wondering, are they holding that back for the final, or if they just played that to death, that they just want to move on with a fresher set list. I don't know. Another band that did we talk about Saturday? We did.
You did.
They covered
Saturday.
They were in the semi-final, but only by a vote. Now that vote that was organised, they
rocked it.
They rocked it.
I was really surprised.
This is a band definitely looking forward to talking about. Divides Unfold.
Yeah.
Mark, what do you reckon?
Again, I talked to them tonight, and they are totally left field from what we have in the competition. They are probably the leftist field that's in the competition, because it's just generic hard rock metal. It's your typical Alter Bridge, grunge, sort of Tremonti-esque rock, but they do it really, really well. They have it absolutely on point. And I remember watching them the first night and just being really taken back within 30 seconds of hearing them, going, these guys know exactly what they're doing, and know exactly what they are all about. And their set was really cohesive from start to finish. Frontman was like a powerhouse up front, The rest of them are really into rocking away, so couldn't fault them at all.
Every now and again I'm at a band, or I'm not at a band, every now and again I'm at a gig, right, and a band comes on and they start playing, and you just can't help but look around to the person next to you and go, fuck me.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Divides Unfold onto me. Because I knew they were going to be a rock band, and I know that I'm not overly into that sort of thing, and I stood there and it was just, this sounds so good.
Yeah, so polished.
And it was so polished, but I mean it was somewhere between rock and metal. It didn't drift right into metal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was aggression in there was crunch in there was distortion in there. They apologised on at least 2 occasions for not being heavy enough.
Yeah.
You know, we're playing with all these metal bands, and it's like, you don't need to, because honestly, it just sounded so good.
Yeah.
So it really sounded great.
It did sounded great. Again, just sitting there and you're expecting one thing. I think when you were explaining earlier on about that hard rock band, they just need something else that just brings them a wee bit, further into that bit special.
Talking to them tonight, they were sort of saying themselves, like, they don't really know themselves where they fit in the Northern Ireland music scene, because there isn't too many bands like them. You have your generic rock and you have your metal, and they're just sitting right on the precipice. So
they're sort of too heavy for those sort of Empire rock gigs, but not heavy enough for.
Yeah. So
I can't speak on behalf of the metal scene.
Yeah.
But I would happily have them on a bill with any of the bands we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, but I think they could easily walk into a support slot for some of the bands coming through from mainland, so the hard rock bands and metal bands, because they're tight our outfit, and again, it'll be interesting to see how they're received on Friday, but well deserving of being in the final.
Oh no, yeah, 100%. They were a wee surprise in there, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a great thing about this year. Again, one of those bands that I've just discovered and absolutely loved.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last semi-finalists that we'll talk about are ex-finalists from last year. Sluts, So Long Until the Seance. Made it to the final last year. Unfortunately, only made it to semi-final 3 this year. I'll ask you, where do you think they fell down?
I maybe didn't think their performance in the semi this year was as strong as their performance in the heat.
Mm-hmm.
That's for me, for one thing. I think they didn't live up to the expectation of the heat performance for me. But I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed the heat performance especially, but as a band, just great fun on stage, high energy, everybody's enjoying themselves. Frontman's great up front. He's such a presence on stage, and then your man in the satchels trousers, you can't ignore him, and another great guitarist as well. He's really talented,
Mm-hmm.
But a band again that the music doesn't necessarily match the visuals, so they're a real surprise package. Like they're somewhere between My Chemical Romance and Motley Crue,
Yeah.
it's madness. It is.
Sluts are a weird one for me, because I initially didn't like them, and then I just seen them a bunch of times, and some of the songs almost became like earworms, like Dead Boys. Dead Boys just got in my head, and I was like, sometimes you hear a song so much that it just grows on you, and you start to like it. And I started that, and it really, really grew to them, and I always liked them. They used to play Dead Boys, and they'd come on and they had like a keytar.
Yes,
like
heard about
keyboard,
that.
Right? They've dropped that, and I hate when a band has something that's unique, and then they drop it, and now they're not as unique anymore. I mean, a perfect example is there used to be a band called War Iron. I don't know if they're still together or not. There's 2 bass players and a drummer, right? You just don't get that, right? So there's something unique and new. But then they changed that, so it was like a guitar player, a bass player, and a drummer, which is just a 3-piece, like every other 3-piece.
Yeah.
Sluts they dropped the keytar, and I think there's something missing there. And then they've had lineup changes, and there's something about their performance to me that's it's just down a notch. They're just not as good as they used to be, in my opinion. And maybe the game has been upped, and that's why they didn't get to the final, or I don't know. But
it was a very strong semi they were in.
It definitely was. Yeah, because I think you're up against Elder Druid, who, as I say, were fantastic. Divides Unfold came out of nowhere and just impressed all of us.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you reckon the Sluts this year?
Sluts there, seen them for past couple of years, and I've definitely seen them better. And again, I think lineup changes has been a big thing. Not that I think either the new guys are are doing anything particularly badly. I actually spoke to the bassist. I was like, I enjoyed that. That was good. But just again, I don't know that they're doing maybe what the crowd is expecting of the competition.
Yeah.
It's a unique sound that they have, and there's nobody else like them in that competition. So I think maybe it's just, I don't want to say it's not their audience, because they've been playing it for long enough. And I think it just on a different semi-final. Maybe they could have been in the final, but they got there last year. And actually, I think the last final was one of the performances which was really good. Not that that was the last time they were good or anything, but I'm just to sort of think that certainly haven't been as good as I've seen them recently.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I would agree with that. Right, we'll take a quick break there, and then we'll come back and talk about the final. So we're a good few years into Metal to the Masses now, the Belfast events anyway. How do you think this year's compared to previous years?
For me, from last year's experience, certainly the bands have been far better quality. I think where last year you would have found just a couple of bands in the competition, you're really just making up spaces. This year every band had a purpose. Some of the bands maybe were just a little bit out of their depth, maybe still a bit fresh and just newly formed, and maybe using it as a platform to get a bit of experience, a bit of gigs, stuff like that there. But it would have been quite a good educational experience for them and an eye-opener as far as where the level is, I suppose, of the bands within the local area. But quite a strong year this, and reflected obviously in the final, because this isn't a bad band on it.
Yeah.
Phil? Totally agree. I mean, last year we had an absolute stellar final. Really, really was. I think we had Kidos in there, we had Oracle, we had Lockhorns, we had Sluts there, we already mentioned. Probably, and other guys I'm not mentioning. Surf Green were in there, possibly.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Surf Green was last year.
But I mean, we've got a great, I think, an improved final this year. We've got returners in there, which is always good to see. The guys that were good are still at it and still going for it really well. I think that's good, but not only just that, we've got other contenders that have come up to the forefront and have sort of went, actually, we're here, don't forget about us. And we've got a challenge. We've got a chance here. Yeah. So
they're going to make whoever wins really earn it this year. They're going to have to work out any band who wins it's going to have to really nail it on the night.
Yeah. But I think for me personally, it's because of the podcast last year and the way that we were running it, I was just a lot more invested last year.
Yeah.
And so this year I've kind of taken a wee bit more of a back seat, because at the time of going to a lot of these gigs, I didn't realise that we'd end up talking about them on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think there's definitely an overall improvement in quality. There's an awful lot of rock bands this year. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that in the competition. It's just not to my taste. But I don't want to say stinkers, but I'm gonna. There's not as many stinkers this year. There was a few bands last year that was just kind of like, Jesus,
it's like pulling teeth.
That was difficult to watch. Yeah. I don't think there was any bands that I really struggled to watch this year.
Yeah.
There might have been bands that weren't to my taste or just didn't enjoy watching, but there was none that was sitting going, Jesus Christ, what are we seeing here?
Yeah. No car crashes.
No car crashes at all. No, definitely not. No drama either.
No.
I mean, last year there was bass guitars going missing, guitar strings breaking on stage, and different things. None of that this year.
So am I right in saying that the Delusional Silence possibly broke one, broke a string?
There was someone broke a string but dealt with it incredibly well.
Yeah.
I think it might well have been them.
It's sort of given the sort of the calculated nature of their performance, like string breaks right dead on, this is what I do. And dealt with it very, very professionally. And that is if it was them,
So we'll do a traditional thing of the final is, I haven't talked about this, the final then is Elder Druid, Divides Unfold, Kidos, Lockhorns, Thieves, Victim Royal, Nomadis. That's 7 bands. Normally the 6 go through to the final. I think because of the way it worked out, they had to have the 7 this year. Who would you like to see win, and who do you think will win?
It's gonna be a tough one, because there's so many strong bands there. Like if you look at Elder Druid, Lockhorns, Kidos, 3 really strong contenders. The obvious maybe contenders there, and then you have the surprise packages behind them with like the Thieves, Divides Unfold. Modest would be a shock if they won, considering they're so fresh to it, but they've earned their place in the final. I don't know if I have anybody that I really want to win, to be absolutely honest with you, but looking at the improvement in like the Kidos and the music they recently brought out, they've brought something special to it. Lockhorns are great live. They'll put on a really strong, serious performance again. It's just whether those surprise packages can do something absolutely unique on the night, which is going to turn the heads. And that'll be interesting to see.
Phil, what do you reckon then? Who do you think's
I mean, it's a real quandary here. There's 3 bands in there that pretty much my 3 favourite bands on the local scene. In Elder Druid, Lockhorns, and Kidos in there as well. I love the 3 of them. It's a really hard pick for me. If I'm going for the music I like, it's Lockhorns. If I'm going for who's impressed me in this competition, it's Kidos. But if I'm going for who maybe I don't even know. Like, I kind of think Elder Druid are just getting to the peak of where they're just starting to hit
really
it right. They're just hitting it right there. So I think, but again, it's anybody's game. But I think for me, Elder Druid could take it to this weekend. I'd love to see Kidos win it, but I also love to see Lockhorns. Very hard to make a decision here. So I'm gonna do classic sit in the fence, I think.
Right, okay. I think we all agree that in terms of if we were the bookies and we were given odds, the top 3 would be Elder Druid, Kidos and Lockhorns. I think we're all kind of agreed on that. But at the same time, it's not necessarily a safe bet. I do think that on the night, Divides Unfold could impress.
Again, I think
Simon might see the youth and the excitement and in Victim Royal. He might go for the energy of Thieves. I think all those bands bring something that he could go, that's what I want. I do think it's completely open. As you say, no disrespect to Nomadis, but I do think they're on the outside because they're so fresh, so new. This is a new game to them. Fair play to them for making it to the final.
But again, will Simon know that, and will he see that on the night?
It's true. Someone, no one's telling him. Yeah. Well, I don't know. He might know. He might follow things on Facebook, but I genuinely think almost any band could win that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an added thing. I do believe what he used to do was he used to listen to everybody beforehand and go, yeah, I've kind of got an idea who if they perform well, yeah, it's going to be them. I believe this year he's not doing that. I think it's just, I'm turning up to that gig, and if you're good, you're good.
Performance
and I mean, that makes a huge difference. I think, so it's again, you gotta go out and want it on the night. You've got to show him that you want it, because let's be honest, fuck everybody else in the crowd. It's that man. You need it's Simon. You've got to impress.
I'm trying to think of it in terms of, if it was my festival, who would I want playing it? And even then, I can't pick one.
I think 5 or 4.
I think honestly, if I ran Bloodstock and I had to pick one of those bands to play on that stage, personally, I would pick Elder Druid. Now, it's a different story if it's a different festival. If someone said you run Download and you have to pick one of those bands to play it, I'd pick Kidos without a doubt. If someone said you're running Tech Fest and you have to pick one of those bands, it'd be Lockhorns. So I think I'm picking my band that I want to win based on what the festival is, and having been there, what I think would suit their best. And for me, I would like to see Elder Druid win. And that's, as I say, no disrespect to any other bands. Who do I think will win? Fuck, I can't call it. I can't call it.
It's a toss of a coin.
I've pushed people in the past on this to pick someone. I cannot call it. I just can't. I have no idea.
It's going to be a tight one. It's going to be a tight one.
Yeah.
It's I'm looking forward to it though.
I think it'll genuinely be whoever just fucking goes for it on the night, whoever really fucking tries, I think any band can win it. If someone comes along thinking, it's just a gig, they're not going to win.
Yeah,
if someone comes along thinking, sure, we never thought we were going to win, then they aren't going to win. I think the band that comes and really says, we are going to do the absolute best we possibly can tonight, I think that's who will win.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's going to come down to the small margins.
Yeah, it will be, I think.
It's going to be tight. So, I mean, again, who's been rehearsing?
Yeah,
who's been rehearsing? 3 times a week for the past month.
I think they're all killing themselves doing it. They're all in to win it. That's the thing from talking to them. Everybody's committed to it. They're all there to give it. They're all like Blockhorns are down at Blackstaff tonight. So we're Divides and Fulls. So we're Elder Druid. And I think the boys from Victim Royal are do Tuesday nights, and so they're gonna be there tomorrow night. And probably Wednesday and on Thursday night. So it's just they're all dedicated. They're all in for it. They're all wanted.
That's brilliant to hear.
Yeah,
I love that.
I
love that.
So I think it's going to be a really good show on Friday night.
Right. So Friday is what date's Friday?
17th.
Friday is the 17th. So I'm sure we'll all be down there. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Friday 17th of May is the grand final. No doubt it will be absolutely packed out. Get down early, catch all the bands. Your vote doesn't matter this time. But it is going to be a hell of a gig. 7 of the best bands out of this country at the minute. It's going to be fucking great. So get down and we shall see you there. And we'll just wrap this up. And as always, keep listening to the wrong kind of music.